Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The arguments begin now.
Well, good evening. We're a little late.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
A little late, but better late than not at all. Good evening, Mr. Dale, and welcome everybody else to the Art of Argument. Our
Evening, everyone.
Our every other week.
Good to have you here if you're here.
The every other week mental fist fight between Dale and I. That's about what it is, ain't it? We duke it out.
At the end of the day, yeah, you might as well call it that. Yeah, we're taking shots. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I've had my shots. That's pretty much it. Anyway, we...
Yeah, that's a subject for all this, oh, shit. What do they call them? The shots they give you for no reason. Vaccines. Yeah. We could talk about the anti-vaxxers and the vaxxers and on down the line. But yeah, that's for a different day. But yeah, you just happened to bring that up, and it just kind of clicked in my head. That's a good one for an oddball day where not a whole lot's happening. We could go on about the vaccines and shit.
I'm looking for something while we're speaking.
And that drives me nuts when you get a word that you see the word, you hear the word, but you can't say the word. And you have to sit there and think about it before you can actually spit it out. And no, people, it has nothing to do with this. It happens.
Yep, that's about right. Anyway, got quite a bit on the agenda tonight. We're going to argue about. I want to do a wrap up of kind of the LA thing. I found some stuff that was posted 3 days ago about that situation out there. So it's about the latest that's been on any of the social media things. We're also going to talk about the big beautiful bill. If I was William, which I am.
How beautiful it is.
I could be the big beautiful bill.
Yeah, that you'll never be. I just want to get that out of the way real quick. Ain't happening. You can be the all right looking Bill, but you can't be the big beautiful Bill.
Oh, I could always be the big beautiful Bill. You know why?
Why is that?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Absolutely. Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
That
ain't got nothing to do with the big beautiful bill. That's a whole different subject. So you trying to pull some mess into something that it don't have nothing to do with. So, let's at some point put that back in context.
Oh, we will. I got the actual clip.
But it was a cute little snippet that you threw out there, CNN. Anyways, yeah, CNN Junior. But sure,
your mama Junior.
It was funny. I got entertained by it, and that's the beauty of it.
I got to tell you, when I heard that, I heard it Sunday morning, and the second that I heard that, I thought I have got to get that clip. So I went and that clip cost me $35. I got to forgot I had to do something here. That clip actually cost me $35 because I had to register my audio clipping software so I could get that. I had took that right directly off the video. And this is what I got.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
And that's just what I
love it.
That's just me.
I love it.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
But you got to use it in the right context.
Yeah.
But it's still some funny shit. You know, just we have a topic going on. You just want to hit the button. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. That shit's fun. But we have to right now, as it's a new piece of news, we do need to at some point put that into perspective.
Well, that's
allow people to understand where that actually came from, rather than you using it where it doesn't belong and trying to push forward an agenda.
We're actually going to talk about that tonight. I actually have the whole clip that came off. That's about a 3-minute clip, I think, if I remember rightly.
Oh, but it only takes 30 seconds.
But it will
to hear the point.
It'll give you where the context of where it came from. Let's put it that way. But anyway, what do you want to cover first? You want to do the LA thing first?
Yeah, you know what? Let's just get that the hell out the way, because I'm curious. All of this new news that you have that your own liberal news channels haven't been putting on the news. So I want to hear all this LA riot bullshit you got. I want you to understand
something here. When I picked these clips out today, I actually went to Fox News, who is supposed to be the only Trump supporter.
And not this time around. They no.
And
they're becoming very liberal leaning themselves. But anyways, move on.
I went and got the stuff, trying to sit in a bipartisan seat.
That's impossible for you.
Well, yes, it is. You'd be
surprised.
It's not.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, it is. It's impossible for you to sit in a bipartisan seat.
Why would?
Because you are so partisan that it's not.
Oh, like you're not.
As I am. As I am.
Oh, bullshit, Dale.
Okay,
I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. Sorry about that.
All right, so
anyway, let's do the troop thing first. Let's get that out of the way. Then we can get into the big beautiful bill and the F-bomb and everything else. I decided to come over and actually pick up a couple of clips this afternoon and do some research from my side. And this seemed to be about the most. This troop thing tells about what the difference is between the government in California and our illustrious president, and it does a pretty good job of. You're probably not going to like it, but
I can hardly wait.
All right.
I can hardly wait.
Let's go ahead and play it then. We'll be right back.
Alrighty.
You're watching a Radioactive. Give me a break. I didn't even.
Yeah, exactly. Don't mix me up with that crew.
I didn't. Oh, thanks.
Come on.
I'm part of that crew too.
Oh, Lord.
But let's. You're watching the Art of Argument show here on Crooked River. We'll be right back after this clip.
The Trump administration might be forced to turn over a slew of documents, photos, and other evidence about military personnel deployed in Southern California. That's according to a new court order from U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer in San Francisco, who sided with the state's request for discovery in the ongoing battle over the National Guard deployment in L.A. ABC 7 News political reporter Monica Madden has the new developments today.
As Los Angeles protests over federal immigration raids calm down, the legal battle over California National Guard members deployed in L.A. is heating up.
The governor doesn't want federal troops on civilian streets. They don't think they should have been authorized in the first place, and they don't think they should be necessary now.
Late Wednesday, San Francisco federal judge Charles Breyer ordered the Trump administration to turn over documents and evidence about military communications and actions in Southern California.
And they also want some evidence about exactly how they're doing it, whether they're complying with the orders or not. What are they actually doing?
Constitutional law expert Rory Little says the state is hoping to find evidence to prove President Donald Trump violated the law with this deployment.
There's an allegation that the troops went along on a marijuana farm raid many, many miles away from Los Angeles. And the question is that part of this federalization to protect federal property?
In response, the Department of Justice writing, California has, quote, lost this case, full stop, and this court should read the writing on the wall and refuse to entertain the unbelievably broad and unnecessary requested discovery. This after an appeals court dealt a blow to California's case last Thursday, ruling President Trump has the authority to federalize the National Guard in this case.
This is actually a very important issue for the American people, which is what authority does the president have to put troops on the ground? And how are those troops supposed to be deployed?
In San Francisco, Monica Madden, ABC 7 News.
All right, what do you think?
Oh, that's very simple. You actually heard the people themselves, although they tried to paint a bad picture, they come back through at the end and said, the Supreme Court has come back and said, that the president had the right to put troops on the ground in that city when he did to quell the problems that were erupting. If you didn't see the rioting, if you didn't see the looting, if you didn't see all the other bullshit that was going on, that governor refused to try to fix himself. If you didn't notice when the National Guard came in, the sheriffs actually thanking the president for giving them some help and giving them the additional people they needed, then you weren't paying attention. And if you also didn't notice that within a day or two after that shit happened, other than this bullshit you're just digging up today, you ain't heard shit. Because guess what? Shit got shut the fuck down because the National Guard went in and they're like, you know what? Hey, this ain't May 4th. Okay? It ain't May 4th anymore. It ain't just some fucking junkies raising hell. This is people looting, throwing rocks at police officers, throwing fucking fire bombs,
for
doing all kinds of fucking bullshit.
For 2 or 3 blocks
and
out of a
they got what they
radius.
had coming to them. And the National Guard came in there and they put a quell to that situation, which is exactly what their job is. So my hat off to those men and women in the National Guard that put their bodies in harm's way to quell that fucking stupidity that was going on in LA. I'm sorry, you asked my opinion.
All right, now let me give you mine.
Oh, God, here we go.
If after all the whining and bullshit over that, over the last election time about giving the power back to the states, what did he do? He took the fucking power away from the states.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He didn't. That government out there did not want the.
What was the state doing?
Want the troops.
What was the state doing?
They did not want the troops in there.
A huge ruckus, looting, rioting.
For 2 fucking blocks. For 2 blocks. For 2 blocks, Dale. For 2 blocks. It wasn't the whole damn state. It wasn't even half of Los Angeles. There was 2 or 3 blocks that they were doing a rioting in. Bullshit.
Come on now.
It wasn't the whole state.
Come on now, brother.
It wasn't the whole state. No way.
Let's be rational.
You be rational and try to be open. Let me open your eyes a little bit to some of the truth.
Open my eyes to what?
I
was all for it.
You
would think open my eyes to.
You would think that the government Mr. Federal Government
This ain't
would want to work with the
1972.
would want to work with the government from the states, and all this bullshit about him talking about during the last. I want to give all the power back to the states. That's why we want to overdo the Abortion Act. That's why we all wanted to. Oh, we're going to give the power back to the states for education too. And what's the first thing he does? They have a little bit of a scuffle out there that he caused, and all of a sudden he's got to send 7,000 troops, not just National Guard, but military troops. He sent what?
He caused it.
Yes, he caused it.
How did he?
They didn't want them damn troops out there. They asked for 165 troops. That's what the government of California wanted.
No, the government of California didn't ask for anything.
Fucking military troops. That's wrong.
We have this under fucking control.
I'm sorry.
We got this under fucking control.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't noticed that the state of California,
and while we were at it
for God knows how many years now, you're not. If this was Idaho, you might be painting a different picture. If this was fucking Nebraska, if this was fucking Texas, even
he can do it there.
You might be painting a different picture.
From
we're talking about California.
From what
been threatening to secede from the union, and God bless them, fucking go.
From what
go?
From what the
I don't give a fuck. I'm done. Move along. Say what you want to say. I'll shut the fuck up.
From what he said, I'm going to go back to this. From what he said in the beginning to the you mentioned Nebraska or whatever. He has got the power from the Supreme Court now to go and do that shit anywhere he wants to, and that's wrong. You got to confer to the. You have to confer to the states for some of this stuff. I've always thought
they
that.
do.
No,
and the state
he didn't
told
do
him
it
to go
there.
Fuck himself.
The states told them they wanted 165 troops.
The state told him. I don't know where you heard that.
I've got a clip on that somewhere.
Told him to go fuck himself, and he's like, "Listen, if you can't handle it, I'm going to handle it for you." And they did not handle it, so he went in and he
didn't handle it either.
That is
while he was at it, he had to go chase all his little Hitler immigrants out.
Oh God, here we go again.
Yeah, here we go again.
Little fucking Hitler.
He had to take those troops and send them to take and raid the fields out there to chase the immigrants out. Let's chase the immigrants out. All right, let's go. We got 2 of them. Look, we got 4 now. So let's send them back that way.
Amen.
Bullshit.
Come through the front door.
I will never ever agree with you on that.
What, would you think just anybody in the world should just be able to roll their fucking punk ass into the United States
if they have been
have been
given the right to be here?
You cannot do that in any country in the fucking world.
If they have given,
you expect it to be allowed.
You're talking over me again.
I know, because I had to get that thought out. Go on.
I got to recompose myself.
All right, compose yourself. You're allowed to yell. That's what we're doing here. Raise hell.
While he was at this, we had to take an if you have people with a green card that's been allowed in the United States for 2, 3, 5, whatever years, they've been picking those people up and shipping them back out. Why? They weren't even given chance for any trial or anything. Why? And did you notice and did you see how quiet it was that guy that was shipped over to what the hell was it, that prison over there or down there in the south?
Guantanamo.
No, it was at Rivera, I think it was. What the hell was this? He was that guy that was supposedly part of a smuggling ring or some damn thing.
And he's under criminal trial as we speak.
Well, yeah, but guess what? The
he got shipped back to the United
Supreme
States,
Court
as you
got
all
his
asked.
way. And did you hear much about that? No, because that's bad news to Donnie. Oh, no, we're not going to say nothing for that. Bullshit. It gets me sometimes about, you don't get half the story anywhere. I don't care if it's Republican, Democrat, Independent, or what. You don't get shit as far as news. You don't get you don't get it from the both sides. The only thing I've ever seen that's come anywhere close, and that's still a mile and a half away. Sorry about the dogs here. Is the only thing that's come halfway close, and they're as the political as any of them, is the damn PBS. But the PBS stuff is stationed outside of, or they're owned outside of the United States. I got to turn something down here. Hang on a second. But I will be the first to admit that neither one of us gets the whole story, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to express my opinion, and I'm sure that's what you're here for. But some of the stuff that's argued about, and some of the stuff that you never, once it happens, oh, hush, we don't want to talk about that. And that's what, from all the damn parties.
Welcome to the Democratic Party.
How are you and I
my God.
How are you and I as Americans going to ever get the truth? We're not. It's not going to happen.
Oh, no. Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
They take that top and they spin it this way a little bit, and then they spin it that way.
That's what we're working on. That's what we're working on.
And I've said this before, and I hate to keep overusing these terms, but this is all smoke and mirrors. And until what I've learned to do is I look behind. I look at one side, and then I look at the other, and then I try to come up with something that I believe.
Well, here's what I do. I look at the simple facts, and the simple facts are simple. I say illegal immigrants should not be allowed to stay in the United States. But you say illegal immigrants should be allowed to stay in the United States. That's a simple argument. I know the news will tell you, oh, this one did this and this one did that, and somebody else did something else. But if you get down to the brass tacks of the subject, we're talking about Trump because he's trying to take illegal immigrants out of the country, which is something I feel, hey, come in the front door and do it the right way, like everybody else, most everybody else in the country has done.
But
you say, oh no, let them stay here, give them Medicaid, give them this, give them Social Security, give them something else. They're not even citizens of this country. If you went to Canada, what would they fucking give you? Nothing. You wouldn't even get a loaf of fucking bread. Go to another country, what would you get? Slapped in the face and sent right back to the United States. I mean, it's.
If it was only
the United States to do things that no other country in the world would do, nor are they expected to do.
If it was just the illegals that are out of here, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But the raids that they're conducting are people that are on a job, trying to make a decent living. They're saying, "Oh, you're Mexican. Let's get your ass out of here." Oh, you're Puerto Rican. Get your ass out of here. Don't tell me it's not happening, because it is. You see,
but if they're here illegally, then yes.
It's not illegal. All that's not illegal. There was a story a couple of days ago about this pregnant woman that had a green card that they shipped out to Mexico. And maybe
her green card was expired.
They took her son and shipped him out somewhere else. this is wrong. You know, if you're going to, this administration especially, and I'm not saying it's the only one, so don't get that up your craw, but this administration is like a bull in a china shop when it comes to immigration. They're take it out first and ask questions later. And that Gonzalez kid that they were talking about, he was under the same thing. He was given no rights whatsoever, and he was here with a green card. You know, this shit's. If you're gonna do the stuff, do it right. That's all I'm saying. If you have illegal immigrants that have snuck in over the border, kick their asses out. I don't care about that, but do it correctly. Don't take and break some damn family or 10 or 20 families up because you think they're illegal, and then they get out, and then it's proved through the courts or whatever that they weren't illegal, that they were here with a green card.
Do you necessarily believe that giving the opinion you have of the news media, that this other information that you're receiving is true with these people that, oh, they had a legal green card and they had this and they had that? Are you sure that's necessarily true?
You can listen.
Are you sure of that?
You're not listening to me.
Have you seen it? Do you know?
You can listen to any news anywhere, Fox, whatever, whoever supports whatever team or whatever, and you'll get the same stories there.
I ain't heard a fucking word about what you're talking about.
Then you ain't been paying much attention to the news.
Oh, God, I watch.
Because I hear that shit all the time. And when I get a chance, if I see something in the next week or two.
Apparently, we watch different channels.
I will. I'll grab a clip on it so we can diagnose it.
I mean, it's you can't necessarily believe everything you hear. Now, when you get into, like we're about to at some point, and you're getting into legislation, you can read the legislation and you can see what's going on with the legislation, and then you can make an educated opinion. But when you're relying on third-party sources to give you your information, that's kind of where things go awry, because you and I both, what I believe and what you believe, neither one of us know if the shit that we are hearing and the shit that is being shoveled down our throats is actually accurate, or if it's just, as you say, smoke and mirrors to make you want to look in a certain direction.
And at one point, I thought Trump was the only one that's doing it, but it's not. It's the damn media, too. Well, let's distract the people from one thing so they'll
the
really
media has been doing that for years. Where you been?
I know that.
I ain't trusted the media since I really started paying attention.
I haven't trusted Trump since 1916 or 2016.
That was going on before that. That's when I think it was when Bush was running the first time. Is when I started actually paying attention to politics and whatnot. That's when I told you I was working in that plant, and the only radio station I could get in that I could actually hear was NIR, which you can say is a little bit right-leaning. But then, Howard Chiswick was a little bit different, because he'd play both sides of the fence just to get people to talk. But I got to hear different opinions, and that's when I started more or less starting to pay attention, and that gave me reason to start doing my own due diligence and to get myself to where, this is what I believe. So I didn't take that for, oh my God, this is the God's truth. No, I never did. A lot of it kind of leaned in the direction of my thoughts, but I still went out and sought wisdom elsewhere, and back then you were able to get a little bit more of a level-headed idea when you looked at different, sites and different points of view. Whereas nowadays it's either right, left, boom. There is no in the middle. There is no anything else. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
At one point back in the not too distant past, there the the news media was not like you're seeing it today. It wasn't. There was no real political affiliation with it. That's why you got the stories. If there was a story that come out, you got both sides of it, and you got a concise accounting of it. You don't get that anymore.
No, you're right.
Ever since these buttheads turned over to the media, all turned over to being leftist or rightist or whatever, it's all. It seems like it's all corrupt.
Well, I think we could both admit that it's, to be honest, fairly leftist. For the most part, it has gone leftist. I mean, I think that's, and it goes back to something that I did hear that is actually in the National Archives about how someone might try to push communism on a country, and we can get into that another day. But it basically goes down the checklist of everything the Democratic Party has been doing for several years now. I don't necessarily know that that's the truth, but it is something that kind of makes you go, that's kind of something to think about for a minute. But, we can get into that another day.
Yeah.
But it was quite interesting to hear, because it's like everything that was listed on there, I'm like, oh, that's going on right now. And I hate to say it, if you looked at what was going on, those were all things that the Democratic Party was doing. I'm not saying that the Republican Party isn't complicit in some way. I don't know, because we're talking about, real fucked up shit now. But it definitely is leaning in that direction. But it just made me go, what the fuck? But yeah, we could talk about that another day.
As far as what you actually, as I lived through the 70s and 80s. 70s was there was no political involvement in sorry about the dogs again. There was no real political involvement in any of the news media. You got the story. You got the same story from CBS as you did ABC, as you did Fox, Fox wasn't really there because they didn't.
Oh yeah, that's too early.
Come into being until after the 90s. But you got the same story from all three of the networks, and there wasn't a spin put on any of it. Hell, even the local stuff nowadays is terrible. You can tune into Channel 3 and get one side of a story. You can turn it on to Channel 5 and get the complete opposite. And then you go to Channel 8, say, and all of a sudden they're saying that it didn't happen at all. That it was, the stories are unbelievably. It's unbelievable what you hear from some of this stuff. And like I was talking about or looking at this yesterday, I was watching a news article that said it had happened today, which was, and then on the screen it said this happened June 24th. You're like, huh? And they're saying, well, this just happened this morning. And all of a sudden it's saying, you see on the bottom, the date on this thing was June 24th, 2024. No, what? And that this is
Well, I
how
guess at the time it happened
these
that
people
day.
do that little twist on there, and all of a sudden the story gets
I've
it
seen
leans
that with
left, and
when I
then it leans
go to
right,
research
and then
topics. I run across that. I run across that quite a bit. You'll see like the top article, and you get in there and you look at it and like, well, this was 5 years ago. This ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
and then we
You
can
know, you see that it's everywhere.
then we can start talking about some of the Facebook stuff that it came from out of the country because it's so far fetched that there ain't any way. So and so died. He's got he died because of this, and this guy's quitting because of that, and say goodbye to so and so. Clint Eastwood for one. I see every once in a while this Rosalind Bagwell, I think her name is, comes up, and I don't know how it started following me on Facebook, but it does. And it'll come up and it'll show a picture of Clint Eastwood with a real white face. It looks like he's dead. Rest in peace, Clint. You had a wonderful life. And then you click on it and the damn thing's spam. Or
Clickbait. They got a lot of that out there.
You click on it and it's a damn virus. That's the
Yep.
that if I had control of media, that would be the first thing that would be gone.
Yeah, I fell for that once or twice. Not in that way, but it's stuff that I'm a little bit more. I'm younger, so it's like, oh, see the revealing photos of such and such, and then you click the button and it just goes, and it's like to this off screen. So I just click off of it, but it's clickbait, as we call it.
The other thing
it's clickbait just to get you to click something.
The other thing that's I'm trying to think what the hell the last one was. See Beyonce completely nude, and you click on it and it's a virus.
Yeah, see, you've been down that road. I mean, you do that shit. Now, I don't know that necessarily the stuff I've clicked on gave me a virus, but it didn't take me anywhere.
You click on
something totally different.
Sometimes you click on these things and it has a kind of a widespread meaning, and it'll say, see the nude pictures of so-and-so, and you click on it and you start reading the article, and you read the article, and you read the article expecting pictures, and you never see a picture. The only one you're going to see is the one that previews it.
Yeah, well, see, I don't get that far. I don't even read it. But yeah, I've probably made that mistake once or twice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not innocent.
Yeah.
I've been down that road.
We'll save our big beautiful bill for last. There's one other topic I want to talk about, and that was the bit about the F-bombs. I actually went and grabbed the actual one of the reporter cameras from that actual, and it's about, I think it's 3 minutes long, something like that. It's not very, but this is actually where that came from. And again, when you start watching something like this, you start saying, well, did this really happen? Is it AI or what? But this is a clip. Let's go ahead and watch this and we'll come back and talk about it. You're watching The Art of Argument from Crooked River Radio. We'll be right back after this.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yep, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Now, why don't you appreciate a president with the balls to be like, listen, you know, I've been backing Israel, but Israel fucked up. Iran fucked up. Both of them fucked up. I just set up a ceasefire, and both of them, because they saw, oh, well, we got a couple hours. We're still allowed to drop bombs. So let's go unload a bunch of bombs real quick before the ceasefire actually takes effect. And he's like, hey, listen, you guys have been fighting for so long. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. That is, I don't know, that's the kind of raw individual I am. And if you haven't taken that from the conversations that we've had, then you just weren't paying attention. That I appreciate that he would actually just, no need to be all presidential at that point. He's like, no, these people don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're trying to kill each other, and I'm trying to help solve this problem. But they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, I don't know that.
I respect that, and I appreciate it.
As far as the F-bomb stuff, he didn't have to use that word. He wasn't mad at anything.
It's not presidential.
And it just doesn't, that's not public language. That's not, if you want to get on CNN and talk about your sex life, that's up to you. But it's not, speaking from Pat Morrow at 71 years old, when I see something like that, I just, it's one of those things that makes you go, I can't get into that. You don't speak like that in public. And, nothing against him or whatever, but, the F word doesn't belong in public. Although a lot of, if you're watching a comedy bit, something like that, and they drop a couple of them, even up when you go to our local comedy club.
You grew up with Richard Pryor.
When you go to Richard Pryor wasn't a politician, though. And he wasn't a public speaker like that.
Oh, you never talked. You never talked politics.
Comedians and stuff like that. That's another story. But hell, the thing I can even take you back to where the F-bomb stuff started. It started with Lenny Bruce back in
Lenny Bruce.
Lenny Bruce, yeah. There was a guy by the name of Lenny Bruce. He was a comedian out in New York, and he got on stage and just let it fly, F-bombs and all, and they ended up at his next concert or next, the police came in and hauled him away for public indecency. Truth. Look it up sometime. And that's where all the F-bombs and everything came from comedy-wise. If you do that at our local comedy club, they've got from what I've understood of this by several comedians that I know from there, they're told if you drop an F-bomb, you owe us $5. And there's supposed to be a bucket back there somewhere that I don't know what they do with the money. It's probably donated to charity or something.
Yeah, I doubt that.
But
I've been there plenty of times, and there are plenty of F-bombs.
Well, for each one, it's supposed to cost $5. And but that's there again.
An F-bomb is in these days in your normal culture that you're living in. You drop F-bombs all the time. I'm going to guess your wife drops F-bombs from time to time. I know, I guess you guys don't do it every 5 minutes, nor do I, or just.
I very seldom
But
use
it
it around the
happens.
kids.
But it's a word that grabs attention. And that's what it's meant to be, is a word to grab attention. And when you do that, especially in the way that President Trump did it, it draws attention to what he's actually saying. And I don't see an issue with it. I mean, yes, due to the rules that the FCC has out there, obviously you can't show it on TV. But the fact that you can get that footage later proves to me that he's the man I hoped he'd be, because that would be me if I was a president. I'd be like, these motherfuckers don't know what they're doing. I would have been worse than him.
Oh.
Okay, and I would have been dropping bombs right and left. So I can relate to what he said, and I think he actually kept it clean as he could, but I respected what he said because he had the balls to say it and not worry about it, especially when he's talking to the media. And he was like, did you understand that? It was like him getting at them, because they're always trying to pick out snippets like they did. And he was like, did you understand that? Here, let me give you something to go put on the fucking news. And that's exactly what he did. And at the end of the day, you got people like you that heard about that and, oh my God. Oh, the walls of Gibraltar are falling down.
I thought it was hilarious.
So you loved it, but I was like, I respected it. So it's just kind of a difference of opinion.
Yeah. The one of the things I found, I didn't grab this because I wasn't sure of its sources, but they had this reporter talking to the Iranian prime minister, I think it was, and Trump had said something about that the peace talks could start within a week, provided that they don't start the what do you call it, the enrichment of the plutonium enrichment again. And this prime minister comes out and very plainly says, I don't think it's going to happen as quickly as that. He was saying that Trump, I guess, was saying that it could start within the next week. And this prime minister said that it's going to take longer for that process to work, if it does at all. And they asked him, do you think Iran's going to go back to enriching plutonium? And he says, I don't see it not happening. So, what you're getting here is two different shit in one hand and whipped cream in the other. And which is going to have more effect. But that, like I said, I didn't grab that clip because I wasn't sure if it's authenticity or when it was actually.
Oh yeah, they keep going back and forth about.
You're not going to get
how well that bombing actually worked, and then there's discussion back and forth about, was the plutonium taken out of there before the bombing actually happened, and it's like I said, you're hearing a ton of this out of left-leaning news sources. Doesn't necessarily make it wrong, but I'm saying it just kind of looks like a diversion. Did he actually pull it off? I mean, if you look at the size of those bombs and what those bombs did, you have to feel that some serious freaking damage was done to this damn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any other way to look at it.
I think if they
But yeah, you keep hearing conflicting stories, and I guess, you know, we'll never know, because whether we get a battle assessment from the government, then the people on the left are going to say, well, our scientists said that what they said is a bunch of bullshit and this never happened. And that, who do you believe once again? You know, we're back to the same spot.
That's about right.
You know, so all we can do is sit back and go, well, at least this week we know Iran's not going to throw a nuke over at us. Next week, that might be a problem. But this week, okay, I think we're fairly safe. You know, and that's all you can do. I mean, once somebody fucking lets one of those loose, stick your head between your legs and kiss your ass fucking goodbye, because it don't matter who the fuck you are or where the fuck you are. It's all over but the shooting match.
Yeah, that's about right.
And my thought is, most people are smart enough to know that. Now, when you get into these religious radicals like the people in Iran, they may not give a fucking rat's ass because, oh, I'm going to get 99 virgins. Well, guess what? I've had one virgin, and I'll tell you, I don't want another one. Okay? I had one in my life. That was my first wife. I don't want another one. Okay? That was not a fun-loving experience. All right? So let alone to want 99 of them. All right? So you can take your 99 virgins and shove them up your tush, because I'd much rather have I'd rather have 99 hoes that know what the hell they're doing. I mean, I know that sounds mean, and I don't mean it that way, but you understand where I'm coming from. It's just figure of speech. But yeah, I mean, for what? But these people would lob a fucking bomb in a New York minute because they think, oh, holy Allah, holy Allah, holy Allah, I'm getting 99 virgins, blow these motherfuckers up. Well, guess what? As you're saying that, the rest of the missiles are landing in Iran and obliterating the whole place, along with the rest of the world, who's also launching all their missiles, and everybody's just going to be like, guess what? We're all fucking dead.
Yeah.
So, you know, when they talking about Russia talking shit and China talking shit and shit like that, I'm like, well, these people, they may not like us, but they have a little bit of brains. Iran, on the other hand, if they had a nuke, that nuke is falling in fucking Israel or the United States, one of the two.
Yep, I think so too.
Plain and simple. If they have it, it's getting launched somewhere. So I have to agree with what went on and the process behind it. I mean,
you know, there was one thing. I'm not, disagreeing with your point or anything, but there was one point that could have probably given them the idea that and I don't know if it was a mistake by the administration or what, but if you noticed, he came out and he said, I'm going to give them 2 weeks. And if they're not settled in 2 weeks, we may have to take different action. And all of a sudden, 2 days later, well, when they were given 2 weeks, I would put money on it that plutonium got moved out of there. There was only 900 pounds of it, from what I understood of it. And I'll bet that stuff got put somewhere
it's a possibility, but they will be able to find it. And if they need to go back in again, or Israel needs to go back in again, they will. And they'll take that shit out. But
it's probably hidden in under some mosque.
Well, that's why they call them bunker busters.
Yeah.
You know, we got little baby ones, we got medium-sized ones, we got great big ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be, irregardless of how, that situation has to be eradicated. And any American in their right mind, if they give a shit about their life or anything, has to understand that, it needs to be done.
Yeah.
You got so many people out here that are sympathizers with this and sympathizers with that. It's like, listen, you might be sympathizing with this person. The person you're sympathizing with is the same person that's going to drop a fucking bomb in the middle of your fucking backyard and not give a shit about how much you sympathized with them for whatever amount of time you sympathize with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're American, and that's all they care about. And they want you dead, regardless of whether you agree with them or not.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is.
The only good,
and it's sad, but it is what it is.
The only good American's a dead one.
That's pretty much the way they look at it.
Pretty much that's come up through the ages. Anyway, let's move into the big, beautiful bill. And we'll close the show up with that. I got a clip that's, I think, 5 or 6 minutes long. It pretty much, I had found a couple other ones that they were 11 and 12 minutes long that described what's in this thing and what the House was doing or the Senate was doing with it. But I watched it, and it really didn't tell you a whole lot. It was a bunch of what seemed to me like a bunch of political jargon. So I did find another one. I think it's about 5 or 6 minutes long. Let's watch this thing, and we'll come back and talk about it before we wrap it up. You okay with that? All right.
Move on.
We will be back in a couple minutes. Enjoy this flick, and we'll be back to talk about it. You're watching damn near did it again. You're watching The Art of Argument on Crooked River. We'll be right back.
Well, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill is facing major headwinds as Senate Republicans try to get it to President Trump's desk by Friday. U.S. senators have spent the past several hours in a vote-a-rama. ABC's Christian Cordero shows us that those against the bill, are taking every opportunity to stall it.
Senate Republicans can only afford to lose support from 3 of their colleagues, and right now it's unclear if they meet that threshold.
With just days to go before President Trump's self-imposed deadline of the 4th of July, today Senate Majority Leader John Thune is courting his fellow Republicans to fall in line behind the president's tax and spending plan.
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, lower taxes for seniors, for Social Security recipients. These are all targeted at working Americans, working families.
The bill includes roughly $4 trillion in tax cuts, paid for in part by big cuts to Medicaid that the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates would lead to nearly 12 million Americans potentially losing their health insurance coverage over the next decade. The CBO also estimates the bill will add more than $3 trillion to the national deficit over the next decade. Senate Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes.
To my Republican colleagues, let me offer a warning in good faith. You all know that Donald Trump makes things up. When Donald Trump says this bill won't cut Medicaid, he's lying. When he says this bill will grow the economy, he's lying.
Some Republican senators have slammed the price tag, as has Elon Musk, who calls the bill utterly insane and destructive. Musk also a critic of the bill's big slashes to Biden-era clean energy initiatives. ABC's Jay O'Brien spoke with Micah Gold-Markle, who runs a small solar panel company in Philadelphia. Micah worries what it means for his business if potential customers no longer have incentives like solar panel tax credits.
I'm concerned that we would have to have the size of our company.
We're talking about 30 jobs.
We're talking about 30 jobs. That's right. I mean, it hurts to say that.
White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt made her plea to members of Congress today, saying they need the full weight of the Republican conference to get behind this bill. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
All right, there. The things that bother me about that bill You notice they didn't have anything in there about immigration or about the immigrants or anything, but they said 11 million people, if this thing goes through as it was designed, will lose Medicaid. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a very good idea.
You're right. They didn't necessarily use the words immigrants, but we're coming in here to basically what I'm reading says it would result in 10.9 million fewer people having health care coverage. So that comes up to around about your 11 million, right?
Right.
Fair enough.
I'll take that.
All right. But what it's not telling you is 5.2 million of those people would lose their coverage due to the work requirements. And it's not been like set in stone, but it said that 1.4 million of those are immigrants without legal status. So if you start breaking that off, and now people are going to go, oh, the work requirements, the work requirements, the work requirements. The way the bill is set up, it stipulates that the eligible people would need to work, take classes, or record community service for 80 hours per month. That's 20 hours a week of productiveness they're asking out of people in order to keep their coverage. Now, why would you find that unfair? And we're talking, and that's 5.2 of the million people. So now you can start dragging off that $11 million list if you just get people to actually get out there and try to be productive members of society. They're asking for 20 hours when God knows 50, if not 75% of them should be working a 40-hour fucking week, just like you did back in the day, and just like I'm doing a 40-hour week plus, and all of a sudden that's too much to ask of someone.
There's two or three sides of this, though, Dale.
Oh, well, we got three sides to it. Okay.
Because number one, it's workfare. That's all. Back in my day, they used to require, in order for you to get welfare, you had to work 20 hours a week. So it's basically workfare again.
Well, they should have.
The thing with that is, some people just can't get a job. Some people.
Oh, there are. Never mind. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Some people are in areas where the employment is low, and there's nothing there that they could probably get their hands into. I was there once, when before I hired into the Big C, I laid around for a year waiting for the economy to pick up to where I could get a job. You got a lot of people that would do that, but as far as the demands for that, so most of that workfare shit didn't work. They demanded it and they demanded it, and you got to the point where you couldn't even get welfare. And sometimes, believe it or not, there are situations where the situation contains it, that you can't get a job, no matter what you try. I mean, if you're a 16-year-old or 18-year-old or 20-year-old with a little bit of a family you started, which you shouldn't be anyway. I won't dispute that. But people in certain situations, it's going to be tough on them, especially if you're depending on that to stay healthy. I mean, look what would happen. What would have happened to me if I?
Oh, wait a minute. You know where? Let me break you off for a half a second, because you keep going after job, right? Does it not say community service?
That's just it. There is only there
Oh,
are people.
there's no community service out there.
There
No places where you could perform community service.
you want to put on an orange jumpsuit and go out and
No, that's not the way it works.
That's bullshit. That's what all that community services.
You got soup kitchens. You got women's homes for battered women. You got all these places.
I don't believe what I hear sometimes.
You could like my mother did back in the day. She was a librarian at my school. But you know, because we was on the welfare when I was growing up, so it's not like I don't understand this shit and I don't know how it works because I fucking lived it.
So did
I. And my mom came up to the school and she worked. She was a librarian. She did those things. And then when she got herself to a certain spot, the woman went out and got a job. Okay. But she did what she needed to do in order to take care of the requirements. Why is it so fucking hard? It's that simple. You just go to your kid's school and say, hey, Mr. Principal, where can I volunteer? Is there some place you need a little bit extra help? And they would love to have you there.
I don't know about that anymore. They'd wonder if you were going to carry a gun in.
Well, you don't have to worry about those people bringing a gun in. It's the fucking students you got to fucking worry about. But I digress. But yeah, so you're preaching to the fucking choir here.
Well, it's like I said though. It's as far as there's going to be situations as there is anywhere or any time that the people that are on Medicaid, sometimes they can't work. I mean, I have a couple of friends that are that way. The one guy that we both know, there for a while, he was on medical disability, and he was, he's retired. Ended up he was forced out retired. And could he work again? I don't see that happening. Somebody like me, I can't flip and walk. Am I going to get a job somewhere? If I have,
how old are you?
Age 71. Am I?
Well, then you're over the threshold. Well, it's not going after every single person.
I'm not
if you
saying
have
it is,
a child you have to care for,
you have to
that's under 10 years old, you're able to care for your child. If you're a senior citizen, you're exempt from this stuff. This is looking to take able-bodied people and put them back to work, which is what this stuff was made for.
It's workfare.
It's a hand up, not a hand out.
It's workfare, and that stuff never works. Something else I thought I saw.
Sure, it's not going to work because you still got people that are going to refuse to fucking work and are just going to raise hell about it. And people like you are going to vote in shit to keep giving them free fucking money when they could get up off their asses and go to work. Just like you did for 30-some fucking years.
You can't predict how I'm going to vote. Back then, my vote would have been completely different than it is now. And that you have to consider, too, that up that 11 million or something, those guys, some of that's going to be voters. And if you kick them off the roll, they're not going to forget that. You kicked my ass off of welfare.
There were people that were already voting Democrat to begin with, so they probably weren't going to switch overnight.
There's going to be some.
So, well, what are you losing?
There's going to be some that
they're losing shit.
There's going to be some that have voted Republican too.
You're going to lose the people that are like, yeah, this makes fucking sense.
Yeah, there's going to be.
So at the end of the day, I think you lose more voters. Just saying.
I know.
The Democratic Party has gone into the pits over the last several years.
And the Republicans are saints.
You haven't noticed.
That's bullshit. I call bullshit on that one. The Republicans are all
bullshit all you want. I'm just giving my
the
opinion.
Republicans are all saints. They're the ones that they carry the cross. Yeah, bullshit. Give me a break.
I didn't say they were saints.
The way you sounded, it did.
I didn't say they were saints, but I say they're speaking common sense.
The Democrats are all devils. They ought to be eliminated.
You guys are all
Heil
about
Hitler.
Give. And that's not the way it was set up to be.
Do you know the ones?
It's like I said,
I want to use that quote
not
right there.
a hand out.
I want to use that quote right there. You said the Democrats are all give. Where have the last, let me think, 4 stimulus checks came from? I don't know if you were old enough to get them, but I did. They were all Republican. The Republicans are the ones that give you the money.
And that was a drop in the fucking bucket in what we're talking about here.
But, you know.
I get it. You're
trying to make me look.
You're in the same church, but we're in total different pews.
Yeah.
We're in total different pews.
That's exactly right.
I mean, you're not comparing apples to apples.
That makes
you're comparing apples to oranges. So I get where you're coming from, but it's not a fair analogy on what we're actually talking about. It's totally different because that money went to everybody, didn't it? Republican, Democrat, anybody in between.
Yep.
Got that money. And you know what? Most of you Democrats got more of it because you were already on fucking assistance.
The way you said that to begin with.
Why is this such a bad thing now?
The way that you said that to begin with, you said the Democrats give away all the money. We don't. Stimulus checks prove that.
No, you do.
No,
you
don't. No, we don't. Horseshit. Anyway, let's.
So the government is not giving money to these people that are refusing to work and be productive in society. The Democratic government was not giving them money to not bring them up.
I cannot remember a time
where they're at,
except
but leave them right where they're at, so they are continually dependent upon the government. Is that not what we're talking about?
There is only one time in the 70 years I've been on this planet that I saw an actual check from the Democrats. It was every stimulus check that I can remember clear back into the 70s.
About stimulus checks.
Well, it's money.
That's something
it's giveaway
you're
money.
Bringing up.
It's giveaway money.
What is welfare? It's money, isn't it?
To a point, yeah.
No, to a point. No, it's money.
It ain't much.
It's money.
Try to live on that once. I tried.
It's money. It's money. What do you mean try to live on it once? I did.
I did too. And it was hell.
Okay. I lived the life my whole entire childhood. I lived the life. You're not throwing something at me that I don't understand and I don't know anything about. Because if you think you're full of shit. Okay, you remember buy low? I remember going to the store with my mom and my grandma once a month, going to the fucking buy low to get a bunch of 10-cent cans of fucking green beans and corn and shit like that to feed the fucking household. Okay, I was there. I lived it. I remember helping box the groceries. I remember bagging the groceries. I remember carrying them out to the car and into the damn house. So you ain't telling me nothing that I don't already fucking know. I lived the life. I lived the life. No, this was long before Aldi's ever came into fucking.
Oh, I know. I lived it too.
You know, I mean, long before.
Food for Less was about the cheapest back then in the 90s.
You're not. You can feed this shit to the other people, But the shit you're trying to feed me ain't fucking working because, like I said, I lived it.
Well, so did
I was there for almost 90% of my childhood. I lived it. Okay. So I know. So you're not fucking fooling me. If you think you're fooling them, then go on with your bad self. But how? When my mother was able to work, when we were old enough that she was able to go work, not only before that was she volunteering at the school, but then she got a job. And she got a job and she just happened to get hurt at that job. And then workman's comp paid for her to be retrained, and she became a medical assistant and moved on with her life up until she retired. But every day that woman could work, she worked. Now, if you want to talk about Medicaid and shit like that, we're not going to name any names, but I can rattle off a few people right now that I know were on Medicaid, and they were perfectly able-bodied individuals that could go to fucking work. But at the time, until it was taken away from them, they chose not to.
I can name one or two of those too.
So I mean,
the whole thing comes
down the same road. So this we're going down a dead end street that it shouldn't be a dead end street. At the end of the day, I think we agree, but we agree differently.
Yeah. We'll just call it a draw. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this for tonight. We've got an hour and 21 minutes in the can, so that's more than enough. We will be back in 2 weeks, come hell or high water. And next coming up next is the I think it's Four Guys on Sports is going to be. We're going to come back on that show this week. I had some other stuff going on, and some of the other guys that were on that show either got put to work over a weekend overtime, or it ended up last week I had something I had to do, which was Amateur Radio Field Day, which we'll go into that sometime. I would like to take and kind of put a little bug in everybody's ear. Dale and I are talking about, you don't mind if I mention this, do you, about the Elmer Show? I know we haven't talked about all of it, but
I'll go right ahead.
We used to have a show on this network called the World of, or Elmer's, or the World of, what? The World According to Elmer is what it used to be called. And it had Jerry Sorensen and I in it. Jerry has went off on his journey through bigger and better things. And I've always wanted to bring that show back. So Dale and I have been conferring back and forth. I'm not sure when it's going to debut, but I'm thinking it may work out to be on every other Monday show. The times we aren't doing the arguing, we could take and do the Elmer Show. But we'll have more on this later on down the road. Then after the Four Guys on Sports is done, then we'll be back with Radioactive for a week or more. Trying to think when that'll show up. The Radioactive show will be coming up this Sunday night at usual time, 7:30 to 9-ish. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Thank you, Dale. It was a nice discussion tonight.
Thank you. And I will tell you before we get off of here, we will have to get into actually all the above a little bit later. Remember, I'm starting a new job on Wednesday.
I know.
Allegedly, Wednesday or Thursday, but I don't know. I told them I could start on Wednesday. And I'm not quite sure what my days up, because they're open like 6 days a week. So I'm not quite sure what my days off are going to be yet. So we may have to fiddle around here a little bit. Not quite sure how that's going to work out. But as soon as I know, I will let you know, and then we can move on from there.
We can act accordingly. If we need to shift the show times or days around, I'm open to that. Just as long as we can keep it going. But anyway, we will see everybody in 2 weeks. Otherwise, if you're tuned in for the next show, it'll be Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Y'all have a blessed week. Happy 4th of July. And we will see y'all 7-3.
God bless.
We'll be right back.